Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into the white paper for this week. So I think that I think folks might be overthinking it just a touch. The only reason I say that is I know in the discussions last week and as we've had discussions throughout the course, and even some folks have submitted some drafts and stuff, just like draft outline for me to take a look at. Everyone's doing great. I had just said to one student, I'm not an accountant by training. My background is in compliance and reimbursement. And I think that the goal of these classes aren't necessarily to make you into a CEO or an account or a CFO or an accountant. They're intended to provide you with the background information, and I always like to say, enough information to be dangerous. So you understand the finance side, maybe not to an expert level. That's why people go to get a master's in finance or accounting, but know it well enough to be a solid healthcare manager. So our assignment is. It's really kind of a little role play type thing. Don't get caught up in the I've got to have this and that as far as charts and that kind of stuff. Yes, if you can find a chart or a graph, or you can create that kind of thing, that's great. And it pictorial references of that nature are always great in any type of a document that you're going to be handing off to a superior, to a board of directors, to anyone, to give not just the narrative, because oftentimes, if you have a white paper, it's going to be several pages long. Some people will read the executive summary and flip through it. If you have those pictures, it'll stand out, or those graphs or tables or whatever. It really stands out and provides that additional level of detail. So I think that might be one of the things that are tripping people up. Also, just the notion of a white paper. I think it was in last week's classroom where we did have kind of some samples, and you can find samples all over. It's really just a document. It's not, don't let that throw you. What I'm looking for is really, a document of information, like any other paper, that gives us certain things. So in this assignment, you are to be the Associate Vice President for Education and Training for our Academic Medical Center. There's concern about the viability of residency programs, etc., and a lot of that is rooted in reimbursement models. So the purpose of this paper is to really look at what are the old traditional reimbursement models, fee-for-service, etc., those types of fee-for-service, or even looking at, say, the DRG program, which is many, many years old and is not certainly something that's based in the value-based world, or things like capitation, which have been around for many, many years, and think about the reimbursement structure as it's just baby steps. So we go from fee-for-service. Way back when I started, 30 years ago, actually, this year, when I started in health insurance, we paid a percent of charges. So it was 80% of charges, or whatever it was. And then a little bit after working there, we implemented a reasonable and customary scale. So it was set based on what was a reasonable and customary cost for that service in that particular geographic area. And now fast forward to systems like bundled payments, or ACOs, or other shared savings programs, just a multitude of them. And we've talked about a lot of them in class. You guys have talked about a lot of them in class. I haven't said much in class because you guys are really great about maintaining and moving forward the conversation. So excellent job there. And I've tried to throw in a few things here and there if I thought something was off a little bit, but generally, great work there. So you're going to take a look at those kind of old-timey reimbursement, new models that are being introduced, and you can always go out to check out stuff that's related to the CMS, Center for Innovation. I know they were shut down for quite a while under the Trump administration, but I'm pretty sure they're back up and running and trying to move things forward, although COVID has certainly kind of put a kibosh to some of that at this point. So I want you to compare and contrast the two models. So look at something like a fee-for-service versus a shared savings program, and compare and contrast them. What's similar? What's different? And you don't necessarily need to make a value judgment on it. You can just simply say these are the differences. But then this is where you want to say, okay, what differences do we have here that can be impactful, positively or negatively? Hopefully positively. And think about, and we don't really talk about it in this class, but I'm sure you probably have or will in others, think about the triple aim. So as healthcare, we are trying to meet the triple aim, decrease the per capita cost of healthcare, improve patient care at the bedside, and improve population health. So what about these models can or perhaps cannot do those things? So there might be one model where it seems to improve, decrease the cost of care, but it doesn't seem to help in patient care at the bedside because maybe we feel that they're not being provided the level of care they need, etc. So feel free to share that view. It's not there's not a right or wrong answer to a lot of these things. What would be wrong is if you don't talk about the types of systems. But outside of that, there's really not a right or wrong answer. The other portion of this that's related but kind of not directly related is the revenue cycle. So give a description of the revenue cycle. Talk about the birth to death of the account. What does that mean? What are the steps? And when things break down, what happens? So if think about a registration. So obviously registration is kind of the birth of the account. When registration occurs, if we get the patient's name wrong, if we enter the insurance information wrong, if we don't get the insurance information, that immediately stops that cycle. Patient will continue on in their in their path, but it'll stop the cycle right there. So, and there's lots of different aspects like that. So, think about the different steps, and then think about, what are the failures that could occur and what impact would that have. And the purpose of all of this is really to one of the things that, if you're not in a healthcare leadership position already, one of the things that you will regularly be asked to do, and it's not just healthcare that does this, it's certainly, in higher ed we do it as well. We're asked to research a topic like this and put together an informational piece for our leadership, be it a board of directors, our CEO, our director, or whatever, asked to put together some information and present that in a concise, efficient, and easily read manner, so that I'm sure that the folks who are we're presenting this to the VP of Medical Affairs. Sorry, I'm looking down at my screen. The VP of Medical Affairs. I'm sure the VP of Medical Affairs certainly has the capacity to research revenue cycle and reimbursement methods, but that's what we're there for. So it's really about gathering that information about the reimbursement methods, old and new, compare and contrast, and then talk about the revenue cycle, and that's it. So I'm not looking for a 500-page document. I do want it to be concise, and I want you to use legitimate research resources. Avoid opinion documents, especially when we're talking about the new reimbursement methodologies. You'll find lots of opinion documents. Try and avoid them. Because we want something that's really more neutral and scholarly in nature. So that's it. Hopefully that's helpful a bit. If you have any additional questions, please reach out. I'm kind of right at the end. By tomorrow evening, I had just started a new job here. I'm on my lunch break right now, recording this, but started a new job, and it's been a little crazy to say the least. So, but hopefully by tomorrow, I'll have a little bit of free time tomorrow night, get caught up on grading, hopefully catch up with those of you that have reached out that wanted to chat, And then over the weekend as well, I'm happy to help out. Just zip me an email. They come immediately to my phone, or a message in Canvas. They also come right to my phone, and I'm happy to help you out as you're putting the finishing touches on this paper. So that's it. Any questions? Like I said, please feel free to reach out, and that's it. Thanks. Oh, one more thing. The live sessions and the there we go. Live sessions. What's happened here? Well, it says I'm recording, so I'm going to keep recording. Live sessions, I'm still missing quite a few folks that haven't responded to my poll, but I will finish that up. I'll close it down tomorrow evening and take a look at what we want to do. It seemed like the general consensus was early evening. I think there was one particular day that stuck out, and thinking like every other week. So maybe 1 week we'll do a live session, 1 week we'll do I'll do a video, and hopefully that will help out. And then obviously I'm always available for other questions and whatnot. So that's it, and thanks much.